especially for one of his films. And that's my daughter singing there and playing that Wicked Bass. This is a family affair. See, the whole reason we're here is because of family. My grandson, AJ, said, Grandma, I'm a dad now, and I want to know who we come from, who are our people. Okay, AJ. Chris said, Grandma, who introduced you to Martin Luther King? How'd you meet Malcolm X? Okay. And Janina, 5'0", just appointed head basketball coach of a women's basketball team in college. She said, Grandma, I've been watching Star Trek for a long time. I have never seen you. What did you do there? So those 3 questions are the reason I'm here tonight, to answer those, because I tried to write them and it did not work. I tried writing it down, but I was in the room, I was by myself, and I got lonely and miserable, and I wanted some company. So I thought I'd tell it anyhow, because I'm an actual blabbermouth. Now, I thank you so much for coming to sit in for my grandkids, and also for having the optimism to come to a solo show by someone who just a few weeks ago was getting holes drilled in her head. And who once again forgot to put glue on her teeth. So if they fall out. Okay, let's see. I was born February 19th, 1939 in San Diego, California. I'm sitting down because the knee that I was supposed to have replaced, I ended up getting the holes instead. So February 1939, I do remember that. It's there. I was born in San Diego, California, which is down by the Mexican border. But I wasn't born Mexican. I was actually born white. Okay, that's what it says on my birth certificate. Andre Cecilia White. Okay, I don't know what they put on the birth certificate for race, because in those days they could have put Negro or colored, who knows. But we've been called a lot of things and not always nice. I'm quite happy now. Most people are called African Americans, but some people are pretty precious about that. They say Barack Obama is not an African American. His mom is American, his dad's African. However you put that together. But they say in order to be African American, you have to have slaves in your ancestry. Now, I've been here over 40 years, so I consider myself an African American Australian. That's a triple A, and you don't get much better. And we do have slaves in our background. My grandmother's father was a slave. He and his mother, Winnie, were slaves on a plantation in Mississippi. On this plantation, they'd have on Sundays, they would all get together to go to church to be grateful for being slaves. But anyhow, it was a good chance to get together with everybody, and Winnie met a guy there. His name was Jim Shankle. Now remember Jim Shankle, because there might be a quiz at the end time after. Winnie and Jim got to be closer and closer. They were in love, and they wanted to get married. Now in those days, as a slave, you could not legally get married. And today, some people can't legally get married. So, like today, they had a commitment ceremony. And theirs was called jumping the broom. On a Sunday, everybody around them, they put the broom down, and Jim and Winnie grabbed hands, and they leapt across that broom into matrimony. And they were happy. Till Winnie was sold to a plantation in Texas. She was allowed to take her son with her, but Jim couldn't go. So, Jim didn't want to be without Winnie, and one night he slipped off. In other words, he ran away. He traveled by night, foraging, eating what he could, avoiding the dogs, just like some of us do these days at round train stations. Got to the Mississippi River. Now, he had managed to avoid slave catchers because they were out there. They would catch them and take them back or something, get a reward. Or sometimes they would take them and sell them to somebody else. But Jim made it to the Mississippi. Now, he couldn't take a ferry. He had no boat. But Winnie was on the other side. And Jim jumped in that river and swam. He did. He swam the Mississippi River. And when he got on the other side, they realized he's traveling about 400 miles. Like Sydney to Melbourne, he's got a distance to travel. And he gets to the other side to Texas, and there's another river, the Seguin. He swims that one. Nothing's going to keep him from winning. And he finally did find her. She came down to get water from the spring, and there was Jim. And they were together again. But Winnie couldn't keep hiding him. If she was caught, she could be beaten or the child taken away from her, sold on again. And Jim, if he was caught and sent back, he risked a real threat of having his feet chopped off as an example to other slaves. He also was just near, north of him, the free state. He could go there and be free. To the west of him was a free state. He could go there and be free. And there was Winnie. Freedom or Winnie. He voluntarily went back into slavery to be with the woman he loved. Her owner said he would buy him, and he did. And so they were together. In 1861, January, 1863, Lincoln freed the slaves. Word got to Texas in June 19th, 1864. They weren't going to miss an opportunity to get a few more crops in. Come on. Now, after slavery was a period called Reconstruction. During Reconstruction, the former slaves were given rights and privileges. For example, they could now buy land. And Jim and Winnie worked hard, saved their money, and in 1867, they bought 4,000 acres and established a free town that former slaves could come and live. And they called it Shankleville. Now, Shankleville, Texas, you can Google that. It's still there.